Hello and welcome to 3 Minute Gaming. I'm Nathan, and today I'm going to tell you if this game's worth your time and bandwidth.
Today's game is South Park: The Stick of Truth. Wait, the New Vegas guys made a South Park game? And the South Park creators wrote it? This has to be good, right? Let's find out. South Park: The Stick of Truth is a turn-based RPG set in the titular South Park, which plays out like a massive 10-hour-long episode of the show. You play as the new kid, a custom character who recently moved to South Park. You're quickly roped into the crew's D&D LARPing campaign in a war between Cartman's humans and Kyle's elves over the Stick of Truth, which is, well, it's just a normal stick, but in the game it grants unlimited power. Of course, what starts as a simple fantasy campaign quickly spirals out of control, with anal-probing aliens, Nazi zombies, nuclear devices, and Canada. The story here is profane, inane, and insane, but definitely hilarious if you enjoy modern South Park, with it pushing the boundaries of the M rating at nearly every turn. Speaking of turns, that's the combat. Turn-based like Dragon Quest, seeing that's how D&D works. While the execution of turn order is pretty basic, it has a few unique twists. First is there are certain abilities you can use without burning your turn, such as summons or items, and like Mario RPG, the game has timed hits, where you can press a specific button when attacking or defending to increase or negate damage respectively. This ties into a few other mechanics like armor, shields, or melee versus ranged attacks, where essentially you have to utilize your entire kit in order to efficiently defeat foes. You're not fighting alone though, as you have one partner, who you choose from a roster of the core South Park crew and has their own set of abilities. You can also swap them in battle at the cost of a turn, deciding whether you need Cartman's explosive farts or Butters' holy naivete, depending on the situation. Outside of battle, the world is fairly open to explore, as you'll be gaining abilities that unlock further areas as the story progresses. A lot of these are just core moves like shrinking, teleporting, or shooting stuff down, but as the Dragonborn, you'll have access to an assortment of magical farts that can ignite fires, distract enemies, and more. It also encourages you to revisit places you've been already with your new kit to either find more gear and weapon augments, or just complete one of the many side quests. And really, that's South Park: The Stick of Truth. Explore South Park, do side quests, and fart on everything. So what do I like about South Park: The Stick of Truth? Well, the humor here is definitely on point with the brand, and somehow manages to maintain South Park's gross out and irreverent energy for the entire 10 to 14 hours of the game with only minimal pacing issues. Additionally, the game looks exactly like an episode of the show, which is to say it looks like crappy paper cutouts animated and bumping into each other, which considering previous South Park games and the new Snow Day look pretty bad, this is a treat. And lastly, there are tons of little clever touches here that make the game memorable, from Canada being a throwback to 16-bit JRPGs, an insane number of references to the 20-plus season-long show, and great riffs on your character being a silent protagonist. It is fan service for both its genre and the show to the extreme. When it comes to the bad, my main complaint here is definitely its turn-based combat. While it does a lot to keep it active with response button presses and QTEs, there is no denying the whole thing gets pretty tired by the end of the game. And speaking of tired, inventory management and upkeep is an absolute pace killer, with you having to swap out gear, augment, and team members almost every level, which starts fun at first, but gets very tedious as the game progresses. And lastly, this is going to sound like a massive dub, but if you don't like South Park's style of irreverent humor, this game is not for you. Let's just do a litmus test. If you hear farting on aborted Nazi zombie fetuses and don't think that's funny, maybe pass on Stick of Truth. As you know, I rate games here on a 3-point scale, must play, may consider, and don't bother. And South Park: The Stick of Truth manages to thwart the stigma of TV and movie-based games by being a decent turn-based RPG, paired with an excessive dose of the humor and raunchiness the series is known for. If you enjoy South Park, you absolutely should play this game. And if you haven't seen the show, if you do enjoy comedy games that are actually funny, Stick of Truth definitely nails it. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you played South Park: The Stick of Truth, you enjoy the South Park TV show, let me know in the comments. But regardless, make sure you go out there and give this one a try.